I actually don't know how to start this video. I genuinely not quite sure where to begin. Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest FC won a Premier League game away from home. We beat Chelsea. Meanwhile, Derby are losing to Bolton in League One and Tyrese Fornah scoring an own goal. Levels, I'm sorry. I've got to bring that up. Levels. Absolute levels. And the best part is, right, is we signed 7 players on deadline day. And only one of them was actually involved today, Nuno Tavares, and all the others weren't. And we still managed to beat Chelsea. So how good are we going to be when we have those players involved? By the way, are you watching this and you're not subscribed to Rads? What you're playing at? Come on, this is a great channel. You'll really like it for top quality content just like this, if I do say so myself. Lineup. I was a bit sceptical about McKenna being in there. I would have thought one of Felipe or Niakate would have been in place of him. But I thought Scott did well today. And you know, all three of them had to do well today because of the likes of Niakate and Felipe most likely coming back into the starting 11 in time, and then Murillo. Balotelli's now with us as well. We've got so many good centre-backs available. Yeah, that's the same team that played Man United minus Johnson. And Mangala's coming for Johnson. So that team was very unlucky to lose to Man United. And one change, take Brennan Johnson out. And I thank Brennan for everything, but I actually think there's a case to say that we may do better without him. Because I think there were a few times where Brennan did kind of hold Forest back. Like, honestly, he's an amazing player, and I am sad he's gone. But there was a few times where I felt like he was on the pitch just for the sake of it. It wasn't really doing much, and I kind of felt like it wasn't really that useful. And we're seeing this season now, like, maybe we can survive without him, especially if Anthony Elanga is going to be popping up with performances like he did today. Outstanding from Elanga. We'll just, get him up here. Anthony Elanga. Score within 3 minutes of coming on. Brilliant goal. Great assist from Taiwo. I think he could be such a good player for us, and he just seems very at home in a Forest shirt. So I'm really happy about that. Just mentioned the first half though. I thought we were doing pretty well. It was just lacking that spark in attack. There was a lot of Chelsea pressure, but we handled it well. Had a few good chances. There's only really one good chance from Chelsea. Enzo Fernandez taking a shot from just outside the penalty area. Other than that, not really much threatened us. And I just felt we were so solid at the back and defended so well, and took our chance. And the second half we scored early on, and we were inviting pressure, but I just felt we handled it really well. Chelsea just were making silly mistakes, not taking the chances. Sterling had a good chance at the end. Mudryk missed a simple ball onto him. Nico Jackson, missed the sitter really. It just wasn't Chelsea's day, but it was also just purely because of how well we defended. As we see, Tavares came on. I thought he did a good job in the basically 20 odd minutes he got. Chris Wood came on. Montiel, it could be an excellent asset for us. Check Duarte, not sure how much game time he's going to get going forward because of these midfielders that we've signed, but I thought he held his own as well when he came on too. And the fact that we had these two here, Niakate and Felipe, were even involved in this and we won, says a lot, and fair play to Joe Wall. He's been through a lot recently with his uncle. A horrible event to happen, and then being sent off last week from a football point of view. It wasn't a good week for Joe, and the fact that he then goes and performs like that is testament to him. That's why he's club captain, and fair play to him. Same goes to Yatesy, getting stuck in as ever. I can't really fault any of these lads. They all played excellent today, and the fact we're only going to get 7 more players to come into the equation. And again, it sounds dramatic. It sounds like, oh, well, we're buying so many players again. We've got to gel them all. If we can gel 30 players, we can gel 13, and they're not all going to be starting. Last season, that game against West Ham, there was only 2 players in that starting 11 that played in the playoff final. And it was Brennan Johnson and Joe Wall. That was it. There was no one else in that starting 11. There was either injuries or, They just weren't in the team. This season, not all of these players that we've signed are going to come straight into the starting 11. There's only really, you think, Ibrahim Sangare, who looks to be a monstrous signing, will come into the starting 11 like automatically, and probably one of Alanga or Hudson-Odoi is going to come into the team eventually as a regular starter. I think we're bound to see that. Murillo probably will do as well. But I don't think anyone else, like Dominguez, I'm not sure how we're going to use him. I'm not sure how we're going to use Santos. I'm not sure how we're going to use Tavares. And then Origi, I think, is going to be a very, very good option for us. But Tyro's quite clear the main striker. So in terms of starting 11, I don't think these 7 signings is going to drastically change it. So it shouldn't interrupt any kind of flow too much. So I don't think gelling particularly an issue. And a lot of the lads that we've bought in actually know other players already, like Hudson-Odoi already knows Morgan Gibbs-White, for example, and Ola Aina, so I think that helped. But just more to the point, when it comes to away form, it really is quite remarkable how we've turned it around, because we were diabolical on the road, simply awful, and every single game away from home, we basically wrote it off. When I started doing previews last year, I made jokes all the time about our away form. And I just said, I don't think we can get anything every single time. I think I said we'd lose every game I previewed away from home. And I didn't want to, but I just, that Leeds game was a real low. Everyone thought we were getting relegated. So many heavy defeats. It was woeful. So the fact we've gone from that to not only having a good end to last season on the road, despite only drawing 2 games in 4 of these much better performances, just to suddenly become so much more competent out of the blue. It was giving Liverpool that strong game that really gave us the confidence, and even though we didn't win it, it was so much better than anything we'd seen all season on the road. I just think it inspired us, and bottling it at Brentford was awful, but we played really well most of that game. We drew with Chelsea last season, we drew with Crystal Palace. Wasn't really much on the line. Maybe if there was, we might have even won that game. And this season, we were given the hardest possible start on the road. I genuinely don't think it gets any harder. It can't do. You play 4 of the big 6 in the first 4 away games. And then, in fact, after Manchester City next on the road, which I do think is another level of difficulty, it's Crystal Palace. But then you've got Liverpool. So 5 of the first 6 away games are the big 6, as everyone calls them. That is utterly brutal, especially for the team with the worst away record in the league last season, and ultimately still have a poor away record when you add it all up. So the fact that we have played that kind of run to start the season on the road, and despite losing 2, we've gone from getting hammered 5-0 against Arsenal in the away game last season, and then lost 8-0 I could go against United at least in 4 games, probably more, unfortunately, to giving Arsenal a good go, being very unlucky against Man United, very unlucky, and obviously we scraped past Sheffield United in the league game at home, but talking about the away form, then you go and beat Chelsea, and deservedly beat Chelsea. It's incredible. We haven't just continued the good run of form we had away from home at the end of last season just because we've had an easy start like Burnley and Luton because they're promoted teams, or Sheffield United away from home, basically promoted side, and they're going to be tough games, don't get me wrong, but they're not big 6 games, let's be real. Burnley have literally beaten us already this season, but it was a very different sort of team and setup and everything. But yeah, I just think it's incredible. We've had the hardest possible start and we've seen this kind of improvement continue. And yeah, I still don't see us getting anything at Man City. If we do, that will be one of the greatest moments ever. It really would. They are probably the best team in the world, so that would be phenomenal. Drawing with them at home is one thing. And of course, Palace away, Liverpool, very tough. But I don't see why we should doubt ourselves going there anymore. Of course, we're still going to lose a few games on the road, convincingly this season. I think it's fair to say that, but at least just not having to turn up every single time on the road and just know that it's probably going to be another demoralising, poor defeat. The fact we can do this is just a major step in the right direction. West Ham, Fulham, Wolves away. These are winnable games now. We can say that and actually mean it. The future's very bright seeing this away form, 9th in the Premier League, albeit after 4 games, I just absolutely love seeing that. Incredible stuff. And then these new lads that are coming in, I'm going to do one final transfer roundup at the start of next week, just reviewing our transfer window more than anything, not reporting on anything because obviously the window's closed now. But yeah, what a mad 2 days in particular it's been at this club. One of the most hectic deadline days and best deadline days ever in our history, and beat Chelsea away from home. Doesn't get much better. Brilliant. If you have enjoyed this, please hit the like button, subscribe to Rads if you're new, and yeah, I'll see you soon, everyone, for a transfer review of the summer window. And yeah, I've got a few other things planned over the international break, of course. Use that time to recharge, get a win against Burnley, go to Man City. I've got a good feeling about this season if we can get all this to click consistently. Thanks for watching, everyone. Up the Reds.